August 14th, 1971. The Ryman Auditorium in Nashville. Eleanor Pritchard sat in row M, seat 14, with 32 sleeping pills in her purse and a plan to die that night. She'd thought it through carefully. After Johnny Cash's concert, she'd drive home to her empty house, take all the pills, and finally, the unbearable pain would stop. But Johnny Cash had other plans. What happened over the next 3 hours would become one of the most incredible stories in music history. The night the man in black stopped singing to save a stranger's life. Eleanor wasn't supposed to be at the Ryman that night. In her mind, she'd stopped existing 6 months ago the moment her husband Thomas collapsed in their kitchen and died before the ambulance arrived. 31 years of marriage, gone in 8 minutes. The grief consumed her like fire. She stopped eating, stopped reading Ironic for a school librarian. Her daughter Susan watched helplessly as her mother became a ghost in her own home. Thomas's reading glasses still sat on the nightstand. His coffee mug still hung in the kitchen. Moving them would mean accepting he was really gone. "Mom, I bought his tickets," Susan had said one Tuesday evening. "Johnny Cash, at the Ryman. Dad loved him, remember?" Eleanor remembered. Thomas singing off-key in the garage, strumming that beat-up acoustic every Sunday morning. The memory physically hurt. She made her decision. She'd go to the concert, give Susan this one last memory. Then she'd end it. 3 weeks ago, she'd convinced Dr. Morrison to prescribe Seconal for insomnia. She'd been taking none, saving them, counting them. 32 little red capsules. So here she was. The pills in her purse rattled when she adjusted it. A reminder, a promise, an end. Susan sat beside her, hopeful this would somehow reach her mother. Eleanor held her daughter's hand and felt like a fraud. Susan thought they were sharing a moment. Eleanor was saying goodbye. At 8:47 p.m., the lights dimmed. The crowd erupted. And then he was there. Johnny Cash, dressed in black from head to toe, that Gibson guitar across his chest, his face weathered with hard living, but his eyes kind, understanding. "Hello," he said, voice like gravel and honey. "I'm Johnny Cash." He launched into Folsom Prison Blues. The crowd sang along. Eleanor sat silent, throat tight with 6 months of swallowed grief. 3 songs in, Cash slowed down, started talking about hard times, about loss, about the year he spent hooked on amphetamines, about June saving him, about grace he didn't deserve. "Sometimes you feel so low, you can't see a way up," Cash said to 2,100 silent people. "You think the darkness is all there is. But I'm here to tell you there's always light, even when you can't see it." Eleanor's hands started shaking. She gripped the pews so hard her knuckles went white. The band started. "Long Black Veil." Cash's voice filled the room with pain and beauty and something almost like redemption. Eleanor felt something crack inside her chest. A sob built in her throat. She tried to hold it in, but it came anyway, broken, gasping. That's when it happened. The room tilted. Eleanor's heart hammered against her ribs, fast, irregular, trying to escape. Her left arm went numb. A crushing pressure squeezed her chest like a giant fist. She tried to stand. Her legs wouldn't work. The purse slipped from her lap, pills rattling inside. On stage, Johnny Cash was mid-verse. And then he stopped. The band kept playing for 2 bars before they realized. The music died. 2,100 people turned to look. "We need a doctor," Cash said into the microphone. Calm, firm. "Someone's in trouble. We need a doctor right now." Cash set down his guitar and jumped into the audience. June Carter rushed after him. The band watched in shock as their frontman disappeared into the crowd. Eleanor was barely conscious. And then he was there, Johnny Cash, kneeling on the wooden floor in his black suit. "Hey, can you hear me?" "Hart," Eleanor whispered. "I think, Hart, we're gonna take care of you," Cash said, taking her hand. "What's your name?" "Eleanor." "Eleanor, I need you to squeeze my hand. Show me you're fighting." She squeezed. "Weakly, then harder. That's it. Keep fighting. Stay with us." A cardiologist from row F rushed over. "Heart attack. We need a hospital immediately." As paramedics lifted Eleanor onto the stretcher, her purse fell open. The pill bottle tumbled out, rolled across the floor, stopped at Cash's feet. He picked it up, looked at the label. Eleanor Pritchard, Seconal, 30 capsules. Looked at how full it was. His eyes met Eleanor's. Without a word, he understood everything. He slipped the bottle into his pocket. The ambulance doors were closing when Cash did something nobody expected. He climbed in. "Sir, we need to go." "I'm coming," Cash said. Not a question. The siren wailed through Nashville streets. Cash sat beside Eleanor, holding her hand, talking in that low, steady voice. "Eleanor, stay with me. You know what I learned when I was at my lowest? That guilt and grief will eat you alive if you let them. They'll convince you the world would be better without you, but they're liars. I lost my brother Jack when I was 12, watched him die, carried that guilt for decades, nearly destroyed me. But I learned grief isn't something you get over. It's something you learn to carry, and you can't carry it alone." At St. Thomas Hospital, doctors stabilized Eleanor. Cash waited in the hallway for 2 hours, still in his stage clothes. June arrived. "The crowd's still there. 2,100 people waiting. What should I tell them?" "I'm staying," Cash said, when he could finally see Eleanor. She was hooked to monitors, looking small and fragile. "You stayed," she whispered. "Couldn't leave." He pulled out the pill bottle, set it on the bedside table. "Want to tell me about these?" Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. "My husband died 6 months ago. I couldn't do it anymore. The grief, the loneliness. I just wanted it to stop." "So you were planning to take all of these," Cash said gently. She nodded. "After the concert," Cash was quiet. Then, "Eleanor, do you know what I was doing in 1967? Taking pills, too, trying not to feel anything. I got so bad June found me, passed out. I thought dying would be easier than living." "What changed?" Eleanor whispered. "June refused to give up on me. And I remembered what my mother said when Jack died. God gave you your voice for a reason. Someone needs to know they're not alone." He touched the pill bottle. "You're here now. Your heart's still beating. That means something. I don't know what. Then keep living until you figure it out. Who needs to hear from you, Eleanor?" She thought of Susan, her daughter who'd been bringing casseroles, calling every day, refusing to let her mother disappear. "My daughter." "Then you owe her the chance to help you." Cash stood. "I'm leaving these pills with the nurse, and I'm giving you my manager's number. You call if you need to talk, day or night." Cash bent down and kissed Eleanor's forehead. "Live, Eleanor, please. The world needs you in it." Johnny Cash didn't return to the Ryman that night. For the first time in his career, he canceled a concert mid-show. Those 2,100 people were told what happened. Not one asked for a refund. Instead, they prayed for a woman named Eleanor they'd never met. The next day, at 2:47 p.m., Eleanor's hospital phone rang. "Eleanor? It's Johnny." For 4 months, he called once a week, 5 10 minutes. Simple questions. How's therapy going? Did you go to the grief group? What'd you have for breakfast? Small questions that meant everything, because they meant someone cared. In September, Eleanor started seeing a grief counselor. It was brutal. All that buried pain rising to the surface, but she kept going. She learned that her desire to die wasn't about wanting to be dead. It was about wanting the pain to stop. And there were other ways to make that happen. In October, she returned to work. Her colleagues welcomed her back with tears and a chocolate cake. She cried in the break room. Release instead of despair. Eleanor Pritchard lived another 23 years. She started a grief support group at her library, became a foster grandparent, learned to play guitar badly, but joyfully. She learned I Walk the Line first, still off key like Thomas used to play it. Every August 14th, she sent Johnny Cash a letter. Still here, still fighting. Thank you. He always wrote back, proud of you, Eleanor. Keep going. 23 letters, 23 responses. When Cash died in September 2003, Eleanor was 75. She attended his memorial at the Ryman, sitting in row M, seat 14, the same seat where she'd almost died 32 years earlier. She approached John Carter Cash with a photograph. Eleanor, on her 76th birthday, surrounded by her daughter, 3 grandchildren, and 5 foster grandchildren. Everyone smiling, everyone alive. Tell him thank you, Eleanor said. All of this exists because he stopped singing and started caring. John Carter kept that photograph. It's in the Johnny Cash Museum now with a placard. The lives we save when we choose compassion. Eleanor died peacefully in 2014 at age 86. On her nightstand, Susan found a letter addressed to Johnny. Still here, still fighting, still grateful. You taught me that stopping the music to save a life isn't an interruption, it's the whole point. With love, Eleanor. That letter is in the museum too, right next to the photograph. Some stories aren't about fame or platinum records. They're about the moment a stranger holds your hand and reminds you, you matter. Your life has value. The world is better with you in it. That's Johnny Cash's legacy. Not just the music, but the people. The Eleanor Pritchard still here, still breathing, still choosing life because someone chose to care.